can get the out of my face. I don't give a who you are. Okay? This is my county, too. You're not going to tell me what to do, You're not going to get my shit.
I'm not a U.S. Marshal. I'm a U.S. Marshal. I know for a fact, 100%, you are not with the U.S. Marshals. Okay?
Get on the ground! Get on the ground right here! Get on the ground! You! Hurry your shirt! Do you not listen? Get on the ground!
I'll pull them back.
Excuse me? I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I will bring him in.
Those are moments when good cops put corrupt cops in their place. Let's start with the most dramatic one.
I know you're not a U.S. Marshal. I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Right.
I know for a fact, 100%, you are not with the U.S. Marshals.
On Monday, July 31st, 2023, a cop from the Marion County Sheriff's Office pulled over a black pickup truck after noticing it flashing red and blue emergency lights and driving through a red light with an unfamiliar emergency siren and a firearm. Upon closer investigation, the driver, identified as 52-year-old Derry Wayne Lambert, claimed to be a U.S. Marshal responding to a shooting. However, there were no calls for service that required such a response from law enforcement at that time, and the cop quickly realized something was wrong.
See your other handful? Where are you headed to? Okay. You have your driver's license on it? Let's deal with purple lights. Or the purple tonight. Where are you headed to? A shooting in Marion? Okay, 10-4. Hey, sir. So, the vehicle is your vehicle, is that correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I'm looking for something to verify that you're a U.S. Marshal, all right?
Went to voicemail, so I left him a message.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just hang tight with me.
I got to go back to shift in about 2 hours. So.
Where's shift at? Where's shift
I got to get my car.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, hopefully we can get this resolved really quickly. All right, thanks.
As if the unfamiliar emergency siren wasn't enough to make Derry's claim suspicious, his restless behavior saying he needed to get back to his shift in 2 hours after claiming he was responding to a shooting, and repeatedly looking at his wrist as if checking a non-existent watch made the cop even more suspicious. And he quickly made a call to verify Derry's story. But after the call, the cop discovered Derry's claims were all false and immediately placed him under arrest.
All right, do me a favor. Just go ahead and turn around for me. Dan, put your hands behind your back.
For what?
I'll explain it to you. Well, all right. So you're going to be arrested for impersonating a police officer, okay? I'm going to go ahead and read.
After that, an actual U.S. Marshal was dispatched to interrogate him, and it was at that moment that the truth was revealed.
My squad in Texas. If you look through my phone, you'll see the 941 area code.
By squad, what do you mean by squad?
They sent 3 or 4 of us down here.
Who is they?
The Rangers.
The Rangers? Which Rangers? Like the baseball team?
No, hell no.
Okay, so what Rangers?
The Marshals.
The Marshals?
Yeah.
So what, where do you work out of Texas?
Dallas.
Dallas?
Yes.
What's your district? Well,
We just
if
have
you're
headquarters on Dallas.
if you're a U.S. Marshal, you would know your district. 641? Okay.
That's our squad.
Okay.
But there's only a few of us here.
A few of you? Would I be one of those?
No.
I'm not a U.S. Marshal?
I don't know. I see the badge.
Well, here's my credentials. I am actually a Special Deputy U.S. Marshal. Here are my credentials.
Mine are in my car.
These, your credentials like this are in there.
I have one to identify that.
Okay. I would say probably not. Because I'm asking you very easy questions to be able to identify yourself, and you're not.
At this point, it was clear that Derry was impersonating a law enforcement officer. a third-degree felony that could land him up to 5 years in jail. However, the cops were unsure of his motive, which could determine if the charge might be elevated to a second-degree felony, and they were just about to get to the bottom of it.
I know you're not a U.S. Marshal. I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Right.
I know for a fact, 100%, you are not with the U.S. Marshals. Okay? So I would just want to know why you would try to identify as a U.S. Marshal. Was it to, like, get around traffic?
No.
Okay, so what were you trying to do?
I told you twice. I was responding to a call.
With the U.S. Marshals?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know about the drones out there flying over?
Sir, there is
Yeah,
nothing
no.
like that. I'm gonna give you a little tip, pro tip. Okay? There's only 3 of us in this county. You are not one of the other 2.
Seeing that he wasn't willing to cooperate, the cops decided they had had enough and transported him to jail. There, he would be charged with false impersonation of a law enforcement officer, unlawful use of blue lights, unlawful use of a badge, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of diazepam, and introduction of contraband to a detention facility, facing at least 15 years in jail. However, even though Derry is facing 15 years in jail for impersonating a law enforcement officer and illegal possession of a firearm, he didn't seem to be hurting anyone, unlike this next suspect, an actual officer whose job is to protect citizens.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground right here! Get on the ground! You! Burgundy shirt! Get on the ground!
Who unlawfully assaulted a disabled senior citizen. On July 26, 2021, an officer from the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety responded to a distress call about a man causing a major disturbance at an apartment while in possession of a firearm. Upon arriving at the scene, the officer, later identified as David Lance Dukes, quickly spotted 2 unarmed individuals outside of the apartment, and the situation quickly escalated.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground right here! Get on the ground! You! Burgundy shirt! Get on the ground! Over here! On the ground! On the ground!
At first glance, it was clear these 2 didn't pose a threat, as they immediately surrendered when asked by the cop, and there were no weapons in sight. But the officer, seemingly driven by ego, wasn't satisfied with the older man's surrender and decided to abuse his power and assault the man, a decision he would later come to regret.
Come back there. By that truck. You're not listening, dude. Bro, you got a gun on you, man?
No, I ain't got no gun.
I
I
just
don't want
asked.
no gun. I don't
Turn
want
back over. Oh no, you watch him say. He had something. No, right here. Watch him. Go watch him. There it is. That's what he had.
After unlawfully detaining the old man, the officer was racing against time to find enough evidence to justify his rough treatment of the 58-year-old disabled man as he began to conduct an unlawful search on him. And it's wild how he presented a stick as evidence. But what's even crazier is when he tried to lie to his commanding officers to cover up his wicked actions.
Let me tell you what.
His forehead.
put my head down on the seat.
He was in front of the car when I came up. He was walking like this. And I thought it was a gun at first. I said, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. Had him a gun point. And he's over here doing something like this.
Slam my head.
What he was doing is putting this up behind the tire. So he comes over right here. He got his hands in his pockets. I'm telling him, let me see your hands, let me see your hands, let me see your hands. He wasn't listening. He got the, like this right here, and we went on the ground.
It was clear that everything Officer David Lance Dukes was saying was a plain lie, as the man clearly did not have a gun and wasn't reaching into his pocket when he was given the order. After reviewing the situation and the evidence, David's commanding officers requested that the man be uncuffed. At that point, David sensed trouble and was prepared to go to any length to cover his tracks.
See what he's doing. I didn't know where that went. He got something in his pocket, so he come around and go over his hands in his pocket.
Can I get a card from you?
I don't have one. We don't have. They don't give us cards.
Okay, what's your badge number?
1059.
Let me see if I can get my phone.
Hold on, we have cards. Okay. Thank you.
Right after the commanding officer decided that the man should be uncuffed since he was unlawfully detained and handcuffed, they suggested that he could choose to follow up on the case if he wanted. When the man's cousin asked Officer David for his card, he lied about the department not having cards, an action that further implicated him. Right after collecting the department information, both men was set free, and 2 days after the incident, Officer David was fired from the Orangeburg Department of Public Safety for violating the department's use of force policies. On August 25, 2021, former Officer David was charged with first-degree assault and battery, which could carry a sentence of up to 10 years in prison. Overall, former Orangeburg Officer Dukes gets an F for physically assaulting Mr. Gaillard without any apparent reason, blatantly lying about the nature of the interaction in his police report. His commanding officers get an A+ for remaining truthful and objective throughout the encounter. While some might argue that Officer Dukes, being an ordinary officer, didn't know much about the law, how does that compare to a senior officer trying to protect a criminal from arrest?
Chacon, that's who you have a warrant for?
Right.
Pull everybody out. I'll bring him in.
I don't want to pull them out.
Huh?
I don't want to pull them back.
Excuse me? I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I will bring him.
On March 22, 2020, officers from the Espanola Police Department surrounded a residential apartment and attempted to make contact with one Philip Chacon regarding a stabbing incident that had taken place earlier that day. While the officers were on the scene, a senior officer, identified as Sheriff James Lujan, arrived in plain clothes and demanded that the officers stop the operation.
You're in charge?
Yeah, yes.
Get your people back. I'll bring him in.
Bring who in?
Phil Chacon, that's who you have a warrant for?
Right.
Pull everybody out. I'll bring him in.
I don't want to pull them out.
Huh?
I don't want to pull them back.
Excuse me? I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I will bring him in. Okay? We don't need to make this bigger than what it is.
Hey, the sheriff just pulled in, and he's asking us to pull back, and he'll pull him in. But he's been drinking. I can smell it on him. We're gonna need somebody. Huh? Yeah. And we need to pull somebody over here, somebody above me, because he's already pushing his weight around with me. So. Okay. We're not pulling back. Hi. I'm waiting for. I told Jeremy. Jeremy's calling Command 1 now. But do you smell it, or am I the only one who smells it?
It was commendable that the officers didn't give in to the sheriff's request, especially since he appeared suspicious and showed signs of intoxication. After some time, the suspect, Philip Chacon, eventually surrendered and was taken into custody. However, the sheriff's suspicious actions weren't overlooked. The police department believed he was trying to help a criminal escape. A search warrant was issued for both his personal and official phones, but when the police went to execute the warrant at his office, all hell broke loose.
Hey, Under Sheriff, how are you? Good, yeah. Good. It's James here, the sheriff. We just need to speak with him. Hold on. What's up, guys?
Hello, sir.
Sure.
Come in here. You want to do it in there or you want to do what?
In here, what?
Just have a couple of situations for yourself. For yourself. So, one on your personal cell phone, and one on your cell phone. Do you want?
As soon as Sheriff James saw the warrant, he realized he was in big trouble and started looking for loopholes.
Hold on to that. Filed today? You have your phone? Call Nick. Casados is not. It's a Scovich case. What case is this?
So that is stemming from the charges.
Which one? The misdemeanor? You got a search warrant on a misdemeanor.
yeah. Clothes is somewhere.
After some back and forth with the police with no progress, they decided to bring in the interim police chief, but things only got more intense.
If that's what I have to do, then I do. Search warrant? What's that? That's all I want. You have the phones. I told you. You have your search warrant says to search me for personal phones? He has the phone. He already told me. Okay. That's what the search warrant says, does it? Okay, so you want us to lock down the sheriff's office? Go ahead and call him back. You're going to stay out here. Stay out here. Sheriff, you can go to the court system. We are. We're going to lock down this building until he gives me this.
Realizing the situation was getting more serious than he had anticipated, especially with his entire office being placed on lockdown, he immediately tried to make a quick getaway. Little did he know that his time is already up.
That's all I want. I want the phones. That's it.
I told you. You have your search warrant says to search me for personal phones?
He has the phones. He already told me he has the phones.
Okay. That's not what the search warrant says, does it?
Okay, so you want us to lock down the sheriff's office? Go ahead and call them back. You're going to stay out here, so stay out here. For what? Because under sheriff, you can go through the court system. We are. We're going to lock down this building until he gives me those schools. Really? Yes, that's what the DA's office is. Really? Yeah. Where's it? Okay. Did you call her? Andrea Reed, you want her number? He's going out.
You're not going to stop me from leaving if I want to leave. Am I under arrest?
If we have to.
Am I under arrest?
Not now.
Get away from
Not
me.
now. We're going to lock down this office. Please go back. Seriously.
Don't back up.
You can go in the office, but
Back up. Don't reach. Back up.
Go inside. You're not certified, so
Back up.
Without further incident. However, a few days later, it was discovered that Sheriff James had not surrendered the correct phone to the officers. Once it became clear that the sheriff had failed to comply with the search warrant's requirements, an arrest warrant was issued. On May 21st, the SP Department arrested Sheriff Lujan at his office and added a resisting charge to the other charges he was already facing. The sheriff was eventually stripped of his position and now faces substantial time in jail. But just when you thought you'd seen it all, let me introduce you to the wild case of these two cops who threatened to arrest each other after a heated territorial battle over who had the authority to detain and question a suspect.
That's not going to happen. You can get the out of my face. I don't give a who you are. Okay? This is my county, too. Back up, man.
On June 24, 2022, Agent James Tracy of the Hiawassee Police Department initiated a traffic stop on a vehicle after witnessing reckless driving. Initially, it seemed like an ordinary traffic stop, but Officer Tracy would soon find out that this could not be farther from the truth.
hello.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Polio. Can you do the E5 and the 55? Going where?
Call out.
I'm going.
SWAT call out. Right over
I
here.
didn't know we had one.
Alarm.
After stopping the vehicle, Sergeant Tracy approached the driver, questioning him about his reckless driving. The driver claimed he was speeding to get his medication, but this excuse was far from good enough, and the sergeant decided to issue a traffic citation. But just as Sergeant James was about to retrieve the citation document, another police officer arrived and began to intervene.
Police officer.
Where at?
Down here on.
Here in Lexington?
Yeah.
We have an armed person we don't know about. Okay, I'll call our chief and let him know. 301 next. 301. According to the Cleveland County Sheriff, we have a hostage situation at that location.
As soon as the other officer, later identified as Sheriff Ken Henderson, arrived at the scene, he inquired with the driver about whether the traffic infraction occurred inside or outside the city. After getting the answer he wanted, Sheriff Henderson confronted Sergeant James Tracy, leading to a very heated argument as both officers traded insults and threats of arrest. After several minutes of arguing,
What's your name? Sir. I am too. You're not going to talk about chief like that, sir. That's not going to happen.
You can get the out of my face. I don't give a who you are. Okay? This is my county, too.
Back up. No, you don't.
According to the call,
You need to stop.
Lexington PD is not
Chill out, back up, everything's going to be okay. But you need to back up.
I get it that you can
Negative.
this right here.
We're not going to be disrespectful.
Okay?
The sheriff, you need to back up out of my face, sir.
You have no authority.
You're not gonna tell me what to do, You're not gonna get in my sheriff's face,
you want to do that?
just like you told me.
Your hands off me, man. Back up, Joe.
No, he just came up in my face.
Sergeant James Tracy drove to Henderson's police station and filed a formal complaint. An investigation later uncovered Sheriff Ken Henderson's negative history with the Hiawassee Police Department, in which he claimed they were somehow his enemies, but luckily for him, no further action was taken. If you enjoy true crime content like this, make sure you're subscribed to see more.